Well, let's see if I can go on to a temporary end about soil with this third video of today. Elam the Amishman. I said I had that conversation with him early in our friendship. And he was saying that he knew about fossil fuels, but he said, and fertilizer, that fertilizer was essentially natural gas. I don't know if he thought of it that way. But as he was saying, it's impossible for him, an Amish farmer, to survive in the current economy. They cannot compete if they don't use fertilizer, for example. But they don't like it. I mean, they would rather do it differently. Now, of course, the horses produce manure and their cows manure, and they spread the manure on the fields, of course. But you see, the agriculture around here, it uses synthetic fertilizer. That's one way of putting it. It's all natural gas, really, and the bacteria aren't there. As a matter of fact, they're killing with their herbicides and fungicides and pesticides. They're actually killing the very organisms that are required to naturally get fertilizer, soil out of rocks. This is explained very well in some modern books now about this, which I've talked about before. At the moment, the one Matt Powell's book, I don't know, about soil, which I maybe need to get. So it's not only that they're providing what the bacteria would provide very slowly, much slower on its own, they're killing the bacteria. So it's gone. It's not going to be there to do that job unless it somehow gets inoculated, re-inoculated. You might have run into that term inoculation of seed when you notice that legumes, like beans and stuff, at least for farmers, they'll have a dye on them that shows that it's been inoculated, purposely put the bacteria in there so that they can fix nitrogen from the soil. So it's not only that the agriculturalists are having this crunch between the cost of all this and the shipping. All this is diesel, together with the prices, because now other parts of the world are using the same technology. Now the U.S. had the Great Plains, where I think the topsoil was 6 feet deep, maybe, or something like that, and I think way more than half of that is now gone. It's down on the Mississippi Delta out there in the Gulf of Mexico, making a dead spot. I think actually so much of that wonderful soil which washed out when the Great Plains, which were sod busted, that when they were plowed up and then farmed, well, of course, then the erosion began. So I wanted to tell you about that, and I have this feeling there's probably something else. Oh, I know. Can you make soil? You know, that question comes, well, can't we just make soil? Can't we grind stones up fine enough and get limestone and lime and mix that together and sand and just get the right mix there and inoculated with bacteria or something, get compost? Well, compost is another matter because it's so little well, it's just another matter. And what about terra preta? Can't we use terra preta? No, you can't make soil at all fast. I mean, it takes a long time, even under the right conditions. It took Mother Nature millions of years to make the soil that we are now destroying and washing down into the ocean. There are things you can do, like keeping it at the right moisture, and you can grow plants in water, aquaculture, I think they call that. If you have it in a solution of all the right chemicals, you can actually grow a tomato without any soil at all. But it's inefficient. It just doesn't work. And ultimately, it's destined to stop. So, soil is a very big deal. And most people don't think about it. Especially they don't think about the tiny fungi. They're so critical. And the other, I don't know the names of them, these other microorganisms that it takes powerful microscopes to see it. But that's going on in there naturally. And the chemicals are destroying it. They're doing it artificially, what bacteria does naturally. But in the process, it's inefficient and it's destroying the bacteria. Well, this is all pretty much of a bummer. Oh, I know one other thing I was going to say. These faux huts that I haven't talked about in a while, the faux huts are strongly enough built that a family of four, nuclear family of four, can live in this building with a 100-foot footprint, 100 square foot footprint, under a roof that's twice that big, and they're framed strong enough so that roof could hold 6 inches of soil. But where's that soil come from? And they could garden it, and I think they will. Maybe they'll have to just do it in little pots because, where do you get that soil? If you take it from some other place, well, that other place has lost it. Well, I guess maybe I should say one other thing. Oh no, I can think. I was going to say one other thing about all the transportation that's involved in agriculture now. When soybeans grown in the American Central Plains are shipped all the way to China, if China's buying, or from Brazil all the way to China, shipped all over the world. All of that takes fossil fuels, as opposed to the old times. The one thing about the Amish, which, the best thing for me about the Amish is their lifestyle, that voluntary simplicity. They live a lifestyle where they don't see advertising. They don't have televisions in their house. They don't listen to radios. I suppose they see, they don't even see signs that much because they don't travel much. That voluntary simplicity, there is great hope in that. But you've got to get the population out of the cities, onto the land, so they can practice that kind of a lifestyle. And ultimately, the most hope I put for the future is in decentralization. I've been a decentralist basically all my adult life. People should not be crowded in one place with all this stuff going on. They should be decentralized. They should be spread out. They should have some soil of their own or their own care to be tending. Bye for now.